MG Rob back with you, and today we're doing another little update on Project Green Phoenix, our 79 MGB that we saved from going to the junkyard. So the last couple days worth of work I have not filmed anything on because I've had a few things taking me out of the shop, giving me kind of limited time to work on it. And since filming takes extra time to do, I wasn't taking the time to film it. So we're just going to go once over real quick of what I did. We got all the brake system put back together, clutch, all that. Got them all filled up with fluid, initial bleed done, and we got all new hoses, belt, and I went ahead and worked with one of the stainless steel pipes that was already in here and just made that fit going across here just to get it done and not reinvent the wheel right now. That'll get us together for the show. So after getting the fuel tank in, I did get the fuel pump in position. We got all the hoses done back on the back half of the car. Got some of the other electrical connections done. Did some testing on the electrical stuff and got all the lights working. The ignition relay that turns over. We got a couple little bugs, like the backup lights want to stay on all the time right now for some reason, but we'll figure that all out. So then, once I got all that done, got the carbs on it. So we got these HIF4 carbs here. These are on loan from a friend. He dropped them by, said, here, you can use these to get it to the show, should save you some time and effort. These are a set of carbs that I built for him actually a number of years ago now, and then he ran them for a little while, took them off, and put a supercharger on his car. So we figured as long as they're not leaking out the float bowls, we could just throw these on and it would get us by and get us to the show and save us some time. And it didn't. Because when I put them on, hooked up my little redneck fuel system here, started leaking out the hose here. Now, it was a different hose that was on there, so I thought, okay, let me go ahead and put a new hose across there. As soon as I went to pull it out, it broke the nipple off the side of the carburetor here. So evidently, what it had was, it had a crack in that nipple, and it just broke when I tried to take it off. So, the carbs come back off. Now, I managed to get that one out using an easy out here. And then I found another carb up in my parts pile here that's just crappy enough I probably would never use it, but it had one on it and I managed to get it out. Now the way I got it out was take a drill bit that just barely slides inside that nipple and then get a hold of a pair of vice grips as close to the base as you can and then just kind of work it out. And then I pressed that in there, put them back on, put it in there, got it to fire up, and it didn't run right. It just would not idle down at all. So I thought, well, maybe I had a major vacuum leak here in the booster. So I unhooked that, put a cap on it, no change. So I just went ahead and blocked off all the ports here, vacuumed everything, and it still would not idle down. Even covering over the throats of the carburetors wouldn't kill it. It was still idling at like 1500 RPM. So, major vacuum leak. Carbs back off yet again. What I had done here was the manifold gasket looked good. And I have had pretty good success in the past. I've never actually had one give me a major vacuum leak when the gasket looked good. So I was trying to save myself a little bit of time by not taking that off. And yeah, well, that didn't work. So I had to take all that back off. Now the bad part about this is a rubber bumper car. And that's an early manifold. And being a US spec car, left-hand drive, this manifold you can't pull far enough away from the engine to get the gasket past the studs. because it hits the steering shaft. It's in a slightly different position than a chrome bumper car, is making it a little tighter. So I wound out these studs, got it as far as I could, and then I had to take off the side cover and then slide it down to get to the gasket to replace it. Well, that meant I had to replace the side cover as well, or the gasket on the side cover, and scrape all that off, spend time doing that. So, and I just was not in the mood to be filming through all that. And then I couldn't find my gasket sealer because I had been changing cabinets and stuff around here in the last week, or the last couple of weeks, and it was in a box and I couldn't remember where it was at. But got it back on, started it up, and had to actually increase the idle to get it to stay running, but it doesn't run quite exactly like I wanted it to. So I decided, well, it's time to go ahead, get back to the basics, do valve adjustment, timing check, all that stuff. So I went ahead and just finished a valve adjustment. Now, all the valves were adjusted way too tight, or at least, well, not way too tight, but they were all too tight, which can cause valves to hang open sometimes if they're too tight. Then can cause burnt valves. But after adjusting them and watching how high they're going, we can see that this one here does not go down as low as this one. These are both at bottom. Well, I had the same problem with the number 3 exhaust. So number 1 and number 3 exhaust valves aren't going down as far as all the rest, which means we got a wiped cam. But that's okay. I'm not surprised by that. The guy that owned this car really didn't know anything about MGs, and he was probably using just whatever oil in them. And we actually were planning on taking this head off, putting a later head on it, and potentially a fast road cam anyway. All right, so I went ahead and threw a set of fresh spark plugs in this thing, and now we're going to go ahead and check the timing, see where it's at. I do know I did a quick check on it last night and know that's a little off, but I didn't have the tools out to adjust things, so I'll wait till I get this done, then I'll go to that and finish it up. So we've already got a cylinder head tracked down for this thing from a 72 and later car, which has smaller combustion chambers in it. And once we get a hold of that, we're going to get it down to the machine shop, check, make sure it's good, not cracked, and we'll have it all redone, maybe do some porting to it, and then do a cam. Now you can look forward to all that coming up here in the future. All right. It really is time for me to buy a new timing light. There's a broken wire somewhere in this. I like to set these for total timing. They go usually around 32, 33 degrees. You can go up to 34 on today's fuel. But that depends on your compression ratio and everything too, where you really want it set at. Oh, darn it. That's a little better.